Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of our virtual open week, proudly brought to you by the Engineering Institute of Technology. My name is Tepiso, and I am the marketing assistant at EIT based in the South African office. Welcome to today's session. We really do hope you enjoy it. First off, this is our notification and sounds slide. So in order for you to be able to switch off your notifications, please follow the directions that are up on your screen, and you will be able to switch off any notifications so that you do not get any disturbances during the session. Furthermore, there will be a Q&A session after the presentation. You guys are more than welcome to utilize either the chat or the Q&A function. You'll be able to put down or note down your questions there, and then our presenters will be able to answer your questions there after the presentation. Okay. So this is our virtual open week, as I have mentioned, and your presenters for the day for the short courses and group training overview are Natalie Deng, our digital learning manager, as well as Cameron Gill. He is our group training coordinator. Some common FAQs as well as questions. You will receive a recording of these of this presentation as well as the slides. They will be sent to you by our marketing team. That is next week. It should be up Monday, the 21st of October rather. Please make sure to check your junk, spam, and promotional folders. The emails will be sent there using the emails that you use to register for our virtual open day sessions. Well, this is it from my end. Natalie and Cameron, I do believe this is your portion. I will see you guys at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Shiso. Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming along today. I really appreciate you coming and hope this presentation will be of some benefit for you. My name's Natalie Deng. I'm the Digital Learning Manager at EIT. I've been here for a bit over 8 years now, so I've done a few different things. But I'll be talking today about micro-credentials and short courses and sort of go through that. And then I'll be passing over to Cam. Cam, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi everyone. Yeah, my name's Cameron Gill. I'm the Group Training Coordinator at EIT, and I'll give a short presentation at the end. Thanks, Nat.
Sorry, lost my mouse for a second. Great. So let's get straight into it. But I just want to get everyone to have a bit of a think first about short courses and micro-credentials and how they might benefit you specifically in your career as engineers. So while we go through this presentation, I want you to think about how you see technology shaping the future of engineering and what skills you think will be most essential to engineers in the coming years. So with that in mind, have a think about what you might like to see from us, what we've already got in our offerings that might suit your needs. And then at the end, feel free to ask questions or during the session, pop them in the Q&A and we can definitely have a chat at the end about it. So I want to talk a little bit about what micro-credentials are. So they're industry-focused, short courses, usually between 3 and 12 months, sometimes a little shorter, and they're designed with industry practice in mind and to equip students with the knowledge and the skills for specific roles or industries. Some of you may have done some before, you might have done some on-the-job training or professional development or in an actual structured course like the types that we offer. They come in all different forms and there's no one specific structure or standard that they have to adhere to, but the main goal is that they are industry focused and they're quite, concise. So this type of course is becoming increasingly prevalent and they're particularly useful in industries facing rapid technology-driven change. Engineering is, of course, a perfect example. So we have increased automation, the introduction of AI and VR and AR, and engineering is a fairly future-proof career, but we want to make sure that EIT is offering courses that complement the resumes of our students and help them reach their career goals. And our professional certificates really aim to fill that gap. I think as Dr. Mackay mentioned in his earlier session on Monday, lifelong learning is absolutely critical to a successful engineering career. doing your bachelor and then just stopping there, or doing your base course to get into the field that you want to be in and then calling it a day is probably not going to cut it. If you're here in this session, you probably already appreciate that, so I'm preaching to the choir a little bit, but it's definitely really critical, and it forms a strong part of our ethos at EIT. So our professional certificates and our other short courses, they're a really great tool to continue to build your skills regardless of what point you're at in your career. So to give you some examples, the courses can supplement a bachelor degree. So if you're right at the beginning stages of your engineering career and you're studying your 3 or 4 year bachelor degree, you can supplement the core knowledge that you're getting with some really targeted skills through professional certificates. And that might be related to work that you're doing, or a career or field that you want to get into, a company that you want to work for. And it really helps target your skills to improve job readiness. If you're already in industry, then professional certificates can offer a minimally disruptive way to upskill or cross-skill. And in some cases, you can even count these towards continued professional development. Check with your engineering bodies and employers for that. It's going to depend where in the world you are. But, they have a set amount of hours, and it is definitely engineering related. So it often meets the criteria for that as well. There's a huge amount of choice out there with short courses and micro-credentials, and it's increasing all the time, and it can be pretty overwhelming. So today, what I want to do is give you some insight into how EIT runs our professional certificates, our micro-credentials, and hopefully encourage you to join us. If you've got any questions throughout the session, feel free to pop them in the Q&A, and then we'll have some time at the end to go through them. I promise that if you're thinking something, there is somebody else who is thinking the same question, so don't be shy. Feel free to put it in there, and no question is a bad question. I'd love generating discussion as well. Let's get into it. Right, this is our sort of structure for our professional certificates. It's made up of a whole variety of things, and we're going to start by talking about resources. So from the day that you get access to your course, you'll...
Sorry, Nat.
Oh, sorry, Cam, yeah.
The slide hasn't gone over. We've still got the presenter slide. Can you go to the next one?
Oh, hold on a second. I
And
can
there's
see it at
also-
my end.
You can tell me which slide are you on, Nat?
Oh, this is the slide 6.
Okay. Can you guys see that, Cam?
Well, now I can, yes, thanks. And
Okay.
Nat, there is also a question there from Don. It says, how are micro-credentials viewed by companies? Are they recognised in academia?
Yeah, that's a good question, Don. So micro-credentials are not accredited courses at this stage. Stay tuned in the next year or two. I have a feeling that there'll be some change there. Globally, there's definitely chatter about wanting to make short courses and micro-credentials integrate better with accredited courses so that you can use them to stack and build bachelor degrees and all sorts of exciting things. We're not there yet. So they're not accredited from an academic perspective. They're definitely more industry recognized. Companies, and Cam can definitely speak to this, hold them in generally quite high esteem. We always seek industry engagement and industry input when we're creating our micro-credentials and our professional certificates. So they don't have much of a purpose if they're not meeting a real need on the ground. So we're more than happy to sort of take more industry engagement and feedback. When we run courses, we try and get as much feedback as we can so we can continue to improve those and make sure that they are actually meeting the needs of employers and employees. Really good question.
And the other thing that I guess our professional certificates of competency, they're not just a training certificate, they are a competency certificate. So there is a form of assessment at the end to make sure that they've learned the content.
That's right. It's not just self-paced content dump, work through it at your own pace, and we don't really care if you finish it or not. We absolutely care. And we really make sure that the assessments are focused on you meeting the learning outcomes, that they're practical. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But absolutely, Cam, they're real qualifications in terms of the way they're structured. So it's not just a piece of paper that is, anyone can just run through and do. As far as CPD for EA, I'll have to check. Might get someone to get back to you on that. But good question. Cool. Okay, so back into resources. The sort of resources you're going to get on your course are things like technical manuals, course notes, papers, published articles, industry relevant documents. There might be some standards that you get access to. There could be, interactive tools as well. So it's quite a wide range of resources. And it's everything we think that you need to succeed. Some of these things are sort of mandatory readings, things that you really should do if you want to grasp the concepts of the course, and some of them are more, if you're interested, feel free to go have a read of this. So it's a bit, quite customizable depending on how in depth you want to go. And of course, working students and students in industry have quite a range of backgrounds, so that's going to depend. All of these resources are available 24/7 through our learning platform, which is Moodle, which you may have used before, you may not have. We use it for all of our courses, whether that's a doctoral degree or the professional certificates. It's really user-friendly, not too difficult to use. You can use it on your phone. There's an app, I think, or you can access it via the web. Really easy to use, very self-explanatory, laid out nicely. We incorporate interactive tools as well, so that might be simulations or things you can click through. We also have remote labs, which I'm going to talk about a bit later in some more detail, that let you get access to the software and tools that you might not otherwise be able to get. It's super important for online global education, of course. And also that practical hands-on experience is integrated well into the courses. It's not just tacked on, it's really an important part of meeting the learning outcomes. We always try and get, like I said, that student and industry feedback to continue to maintain the quality of those resources. So looking now at instructors, the resources are your content and the instructors are the means of sharing that content with you. So our instructors are highly experienced, qualified professionals, and they generally have very extensive industry backgrounds. So as lovely as it is to have academics that have been working for universities, from day dot, did all their studies, we really look for people with hands-on experience in engineering for our professional certificates. It's particularly important because if we have a classroom full of students who work in industry and know what they're talking about, the esoteric academic discussion, it's all theory, isn't necessarily going to translate as well. So having an industry expert who is a teacher in the classroom really generates great discussion, debate at times, and creates a really good learning environment for our students. So our instructors in professional certificates aren't just experts in their fields, they're interested in sharing that knowledge. So some of them may have decades of experience and now they want to make sure that they're passing on that knowledge and sharing it with everyone else. So it's just a really nice element to our courses, much better than just having content that you can't really engage with. Being online, we have access to a global recruitment pool. So we're not restricted just to Perth, which is where I'm located. We can source instructors from wherever in the world there happens to be good staff available. So that might be South Africa or Zimbabwe or London or New York. We're not limited, and that gives us a really wide range of topics that we can cover. We can go really niche. We can find experts that are working in emerging fields that we might not be able to do if we were just restricted to that smaller pool. So we're very much about having a global community of learning. The physical barriers of a traditional campus we're not so confined to, and especially in courses like this, which I think is a real luxury for us to have. We have some wonderful lecturers from all over the world, and instructors, I should say. Moving on to our webinar format, let me just answer a couple of questions in the chat before I do. So what's the ratio of practical skills versus theory? It's going to depend on the course type. So let's say it's a more management-focused professional certificate. It might be like 50-50, where you're doing some project management planning and then also learning some of the theory that goes into that. If it's a very technical, say, solar energy unit, there might be a little bit more practical, might be a little bit more lab, same with things like PLC. It's going to depend, but you can have a look on our website, and all of our professional certificates show the topics and even the subtopics, so you can get a pretty good idea of what's involved, and hopefully that helps you make your decision. We also have another question that says, what if courses are completed currently and next year they become accredited? Will the historically completed courses adopt the accreditation? That's a very good theoretical question. I think we're probably not at that point where we're worried about that yet. It's something that we'd consider, and it would depend on the type of accreditation that is granted, if it's granted down the track. But yeah, interesting thought. I would love that to happen, but it doesn't. It doesn't always eventuate that way. Depends on the content of the course, if we have to change things to meet requirements, for accreditation and stuff like that. That's a good question. So on to webinars. They're really the heart of our learning experience. So these are live interactive sessions that typically go for around 60 to 90 minutes, and they're held fortnightly or 2-weekly, if you're not familiar. They're a really good opportunity to engage with your instructors and ask questions, participate in discussions, and create connections with fellow students from around the globe. We know that students tend to have better outcomes and when they're more engaged with their course, and attending the live webinars, if you can, is a great way to do that. We understand that many of our students are working professionals, adult learners, and life gets busy. So if you miss a session, don't worry, the recordings are available for later viewing, and you can submit summaries to gain your attendance marks. So the webinars are mandatory, but if you can't attend live, there are ways to make up the marks for that. The reason that we make them mandatory is so that we force a little bit of that engagement, a little bit of that check-in sort of requirement, so that you don't feel, cast to the wind. And for those people that do well with a little bit more targeted, deliverables and due dates and things, it works quite well. But generally, it's not a huge time commitment. I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So let's move on to the practicalities, the cost and the length of the courses. So we believe that high quality education, engineering education, should be accessible, and that's why our course fees are quite competitive. You can find the detailed pricing information on our website, and I will just paste the link into the chat because I know that's often a question that we get asked. We do offer some discounts for companies or group bookings, so be sure to get in touch with us to discuss your needs and your company needs or your employee needs if you're an employer. And I should also mention that we do offer discounts for returning students. So if you've done another vet course or higher education course with us and you want to come and do a professional certificate, there are discounts that we can offer as well. And our wonderful course advisors can give you some further information there. Just going to address this last question in the chat. Can micro-credentials be used as a basis to apply for RPL against a higher education degree? Another good question. At the moment, not so much, not solely. So there's not like a direct one-to-one credit. However, next year there will be some courses we are developing that will provide one-to-one credit. The evidence standard for a higher education unit is quite high. They usually have proctored or invigilated assessments just to really authenticate that learning. And a professional certificate is much more targeted at, people that are really self-motivated in their learning and just want to build on their skills. So there's a little bit of a gap there, but we are working on a course for next year that will grant credit into one of our bachelor degrees. So keep an eye on our newsletter, as there'll be announcements there, and on our website, our Facebook page, our socials. You'll definitely hear something about that, and that will be the first and hopefully not the last. So there's definitely some movement there. So another really good question. Talking about the length and duration and flexibility, our ProfCert programs are designed to be completed in 3 months, so 12 weeks, and they've got a time commitment. So your sort of study time per week of about 5 to 8 hours. So if you are brand new to a field or a very specific niche area, then you might want to deep dive into a few more things, and it's probably going to take you closer to 8 hours per week. However, if you're working in this field, you're already pretty familiar with it, you just want to get some formalization of your skills and knowledge, you're probably looking at closer to 5. Other than the 90-minute webinars every fortnight, there's no mandatory attendance, only the assessments. So other than your assessments and your live tutorials, the rest is really flexible as to how far you want to go diving into that content. This part-time structure gives you the flexibility to balance your studies with your work schedules, which can be really challenging as engineers. You might be FIFO, so you might work remotely on fly-in, fly-out schedules. You might be on an oil rig half the time. We understand that, and it's something that we don't disregard when we're designing our courses. Of course, there are other commitments, family, sports, all the other things that come with adult learning. So definitely want to make sure we have flexibility built into especially this kind of course. The support system is incredibly important in that regard. So we know that online learning can sometimes be a little bit isolating, so it's really critical that we provide you as much support as we can to guide you through. So each course has a dedicated learning support officer, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. So they can help with things like technical issues or study guidance. And you can contact them by phone or email. Some students are really seasoned pros at online education and they just need updates and check-ins, and some students are brand new to online learning and want a bit more guidance. So our really wonderful team of LSOs are really adaptable and they can offer you the support to sort of meet you where you're at. For types and structures, I'm going to jump to the next slide, but I'll just give you a second if there's any questions on anything I've said so far. Okay. If there's anything that you'd like to ask, feel free to put it in the Q&A and we'll make sure we get to it. Someone asked if micro-credentials are eligible for Australian government fee help. Our current offerings, no, but watch this space. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that for now. It's there, like I said, there are some really interesting programs that are going on from the Australian government and other governments around the world in this micro-credential space, and it's something that I really hope to see some growth in. But at the moment, they're not covered by fee help.
Just a question from my end, Nat. Cam,
Yeah.
do you see the slides moving? I
Yeah,
just wanted
they
to
are.
confirm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
no
they're
problem.
moving. Thanks.
What slide are you guys on?
Nat, I'm just thinking, maybe do you want to take control of the slides? Then
I think I have this syncing with me now.
Okay, no
Okay,
problem. Then.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. No worries, ladies. Great. So let's talk a little bit more about the structure. So we have, like I said, that 5 to 8 hour per week learning commitment, and then those fortnightly 90-minute webinars. You need to attend 65% of those to get the marks for attendance, which is mandatory. If you can't attend, you can do those summaries and get your marks that way. So if there are 6 live webinars, then 4 of them you need to attend or do summaries for. Again, not a massive amount of time commitment, but it really makes sure that our students are actually getting in there and learning the content, so that this qualification is really reflective of the work that our students are putting in. The intakes are throughout the year, so you can have a look at our schedule on our website and that will tell you what's coming up and when they're scheduled, but keep an eye on it, things do change. And we offer courses across a wide variety of specializations. So industrial automation, civil, data comms, electrical and electronic engineering, mechanical, engineering management, machine learning and AI, which is obviously a very new and exciting field, and renewables and green energy as well, which is also a really interesting and important field that we're starting to look at as well. So these are the top 8 certificates, professional certificates that we've got at the moment. So we have PLCs and SCADA tops the list. It's a really popular course, very well established, well run. Can't credit it high enough. We also have instrumentation, automation and process control, safety instrumentation systems, road construction, big data and analytics in electricity grid, power distribution, hydrogen energy, production, delivery, storage, use, and electrical power system protection. So a lot of these are quite established, quite well established. We've been running them, some of them for years, and they've got really, really well supported courses. Looking ahead to 2025. Okay. Can you all see this slide?
It still shows that Tepi is controlling the slide.
I just moved it forward, Nat. So it's on the right slide now.
Thank you, Cam.
I'll take control.
Thanks, Cam. Some reason not working for me. Sorry, everyone. 2025. We're going to look at developing some new micro-credential type courses. So they'll have innovative features like AI tutor chatbots. So chatbots that can help not give you the answer, but guide you through and really help you cement your learning and understanding, which is really cool. Hopefully that will be early 2025 that's released. Gamification, interactive tools, courses that offer a little bit more flexibility for adult learners and professionals, with varying durations. So maybe a 6-week course that you can stack with a few others, or even some asynchronous kind of options or elements so you can do things a little bit more self-paced. So again, keep up to date with our information and releases, and then you'll be sure to see when something crosses your plate that you're interested in. The courses that we are looking at, or the topics for 2025, have we got slide 9 up, Cam?
Yes.
Good, great.
I tried syncing to you, but it took me back a couple of slides. So it says sync to presenter, and that didn't seem to work. So I can just run it if you want.
Guys, if you could please just tell us in the chat box if you guys are able to see the slide that's up on your screen. Which slide are you on, Nat?
We're on slide number 9. So the heading of this one is Professional Certificates of Competency coming in 2025.
Okay. Please tell us if you're able to see slide 9. I'm just going to ask Nat to move from 8 to 9 so that we do see that it is switching. Could you please do so, Nat?
Okay, this is 8, and we're at 9.
Please tell me if you're able to see that, guys, so that you are up to speed and are able to go through the information as she is presenting.
John's confirmed it is. Don't worry too much, guys. No, okay, we're on 9. Excellent. Let's keep going, everyone. I don't want to hold you up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Let me talk about a few of our course topics that we're looking at developing in 2025. Let us know if any of these pique your interest. Got things like carbon capture, data engineering, repair of concrete, EMC, shielding and noise reduction, dual fuel engines, digital twins and simulation monitoring, which is really interesting, flow measurement, troubleshooting of PLCs and SCADAs, but other troubleshooting courses as well as some fundamental courses for people who may not be engineers but are working with engineers and need to learn some of the fundamentals, so keep an eye out for those. Green building, so carbon management and infrastructure, fundamentals of green hydrogen, energy storage, industrial control system, cybersecurity, another supercritical field, and geotechnical monitoring and structural instrumentation. This is not an exhaustive list, but it is the ones that are sort of quite high on my priority list. Some of these are already scheduled for early 2025. You can have a look on our website to see those. I'm going to talk to you now about our remote and virtual labs. So this is the practical aspect of the courses, super critical. One of the biggest challenges in engineering education, especially online, is ensuring that students have access to the equipment and the software they need to apply their knowledge in real-world scenarios. And we're very empathetic of the fact that not everyone can access and doesn't necessarily want to purchase software for a 3-month course. And so we have remote and virtual labs where much of that software and hardware exists and it's part of your course. So if it's required for your assessments, you get access to it. Their remote labs are set up around the globe. We have a few different ones and they're equipped with all of that software and hardware that lets you get that real world experience. If you have a look on our website, I think there are some videos that sort of show how the remote labs are set up. If you want to get a bit of an idea of what kind of things you can do. It might look like a simulation for electrical isolation, or it might be testing a PLC program on like a miniature set of real-world traffic lights. So we're constantly adding to our remote and virtual labs and taking feedback and trying to improve things. And obviously with technology, there's all kinds of weird and wonderful things that we can integrate into that as well. So always on the lookout for new stuff. The labs and remote labs are available 24/7. You do need to book them, but the booking process is fairly straightforward. And then once you've booked your slot, you can go in there, and there is technical support available as well, which is obviously quite important. Now, can everyone see the learning experience slide?
Actually, I cannot. I'm still on slide 9. So let me just try and go to that slide for you, Nat. It's okay.
I put it to that slide, Nat. It should be, I can see it from here.
Okay.
Slide 11 of 15.
Yeah. Can everyone see slide 11 of 15? Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Not sure why it's playing up. It's not letting me sync it, but all good. This is a little bit of a snapshot into the learning experience. So we don't just give you, reams of paperwork and digital paperwork and textbooks and throw them at you and say, off you go and learn. We try and make our learning experiences as engaging as we can, and we're increasingly doing so. So even for our more established courses, we're going back and constantly improving things. And what that looks like is something like this. So I'm going to press play on this little tiny video just to give you an idea, and I'll talk you through what we're looking at. So this is a module. It's pre-recorded or pre-webinar content. So it's not mandatory. You can look at it if you want. You can spend as much time on it as you want. This one's from the hydrogen-powered vehicles course, which is a very new one, I think scheduled for next year. And what you can do in this particular setting is click around the different elements of a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, find out a bit more about them. But in a module like this, there might also be a little bit of gamification. There might be tiles that you can click, and you have control over how deep you explore. So there might be links to other readings or websites that you can go and look at, or YouTube videos. So it's really, you have a lot of control over your learning and can explore as much as you want, depending on what you want to get out of the course and how you want to engage with the content. We will be sending are we sending the slides out?
Yes, we are going to send both the slides and recordings.
Great. So you'll all get the slides. So don't worry if you can't see anything that's up here at the moment. It's mostly just I'm talking through everything anyway. Great. Let's go to our next slide, which is on student support. Can everyone see that one?
Yeah,
let me talk through it anyway. Beautiful.
Student support.
Okay, lovely. All right, so as I've mentioned before, our learning support offers are an absolutely integral part of EIT's delivery of education. So in the professional certificates, you'll have one learning support officer who's with you from enrolment through to graduation often. Sometimes they might change, but generally it's one or two. And they act as the sort of keystone between you and your instructor and the content. So making sure that you have someone to go to regardless of your questions. So we don't leave students sort of adrift. We make sure that they have that really excellent learning support officer resource to contact, and like I said, email or phone. They're based in different parts of the world. So your LSO could be in Perth or Melbourne, or they might be in South Africa. And their job is to really help guide our students through the course. So some students are very experienced with online learning, and all they'll need or want is just check-ins, reminders when things are due, and that's plenty. But if you're new to online learning or new to our type of online learning, you might want a bit more support. So that might be support around resources that you can use to, for study skills. It might be a little bit more support with linking the content, and our LSOs can help connect you with your instructors. So, you know, there's no question that they have not heard, I promise. You should always go to them. They're a brilliant resource. If you choose to study with us, absolutely, make sure you get in contact with them. We did go through slide 11, but I think we're having some glitches with the way the slides are appearing. Don't stress, they are going to be sent out. They will be visible in the recording, and I'm just talking through everything. But if you have any questions, of course, you can ask me. The LSOs can, you know, talk to you about things like system access or IT, basic IT kind of problems, processes. So if you need to like apply for an extension, they'll let you know how that works. Course progression, so if you want to, you know, change into another course, they can direct you to the right people, or just general administration. So if you need to update some of your personal details, they'll be the ones who send out your certificates and things like that as well. So yeah, you'll definitely be hearing from them quite a bit throughout the course, and they work really closely with the academics or the instructors for your courses. Usually you'll have one instructor for each course. You might have a guest lecturer come in, or, you know, some people might specialize in certain topics, but generally one, and their responsibility is to deliver live interactive webinars to you. You might also see them have some videos in the pre-recorded webinars or the pre-webinar content, if that's applicable for the course. They also update the materials and assignments, and they can help with your academic and content queries. So because it's usually one person, they're really familiar with it and definitely experts. Okay, that is all from me. I think if you have any questions, again, put them in the Q&A. Very happy to go through them at the end. I hope that's been informative. And yeah, I'll check in soon. I'll pass over to my esteemed colleague Cam now.
Thanks very much, Nat. And for those people who didn't get the introductions earlier on, my name's Cameron Gill. I'm the Group Training Coordinator at EIT. So EIT Group Training involves the delivery of short courses to groups of employees. But following on from Natalie's overview, I'd like to highlight that the key to our success of our short courses is the practicality of the content, you know, where we combine the technical content with the practical application of the theory. The most popular topics for group training vary year on year. Currently, the most popular short courses for group training include the PLC and SCADA fundamentals, electrical wiring standards, the IEC 61850 substation automation, and also power system fundamentals for non-electrical engineers. Group training courses are delivered in now 3 formats. It was originally online training and then on-site training. But now we also have a hybrid approach where we can have the on-site training, but then we have the online quizzes, assignments, and practicals and assessments. For group training bookings of less than 10 delegates, you can join our public professional certificate courses. But for more, we can run a private intake. So a private intake is where we have a dedicated selected instructor, but we can customize the course content. So that means we can take modules from one Prof Cert course and bring them into another, and we can really build the course around your training requirements. We can also change the duration and frequency of the live webinars and also provide group training discounts. So there are several key reasons why an employer would engage with EIT for group training of their technicians and engineers. This includes a fundamental need to upskill and reskill their staff, also to help transition employees from trade-based roles into more technical roles, to invest in the development of staff and to help retain employees, and also to reduce operational and business risk. Also, we do not just deliver group training to employers, we also have an international network of partners who we deliver training through, where we complement their standard courses with our technical and industry-tuned practical content. So it's a special offer for our virtual open week. We'll be providing a free IDC video course of your choice for anyone that requests a quote and then proceeds to enrolment for a group of 5 to 10 delegates on a professional certificate course, and 2 free IDC courses for quotes and bookings for 10 or more delegates on a private intake. So This is an additional bonus to the other pricing discounts. So to get a quote, please, you can email me at training@eit.edu.au, and I'll also put the group training link in the chat. So you can visit that page. You can also contact me on the form that I've just posted in the chat. So are there any questions that we can go through?
Cam, I think someone asked if online students can take on-site group training too.
Oh, it's under Q&A, is it? I didn't see it.
Just in the chat.
Yep. Do online students take on-site group training too? I don't quite understand, sorry.
I would.
Is that, sorry?
Oh no, sorry. Our online enrollment for our courses is our professional certificate online enrollment. Group training is usually done at an employer's location. So it's we often, Cam can probably explain in a bit more detail, but there'll be someone coming into, say, your office or your place of work or a venue to actually deliver that training. And that can be, it doesn't have to be in Australia where we're located. There's, all over the world. So some of them will have online components perhaps, and some of it can be in person. So I think it's a really flexible approach that we do for employers. That fair,
and
Cam?
we can also run the training from our campuses as well. So, and I believe that we can now run it from the South African office. So we can South Africa, Perth, Melbourne, and Brisbane as well. So we can run across locations. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that's clear. Are there any other questions for Nat or myself?
I was going to have a look at the Q&A. My apologies, guys, for the slides playing up. Not sure what was going on there. It's fine this morning. Okay, so Don asked
there's two in there.
Yeah, I can start with the first one. So what is the assessment format? So are they written, exams, practical demonstrations, interviews? Great question. Most of them tend to be, so you'll have in a professional certificate often like a fortnightly or 2-weekly quiz that you'll have to do, and that will be on the 2 weeks of content before that. They're not too long. They're more sort of to check your knowledge, make sure you're understanding things. You do need to complete them, but they're not really intensive. And then you'll have 2 main assessments. So one will cover the first half of the content and one will cover the second half of the content. And often one or both of those will have a practical component. So we don't have exams in professional certificates, but that doesn't mean you can use ChatGPT to do the whole thing. There's definitely, we try and make sure that the way the assessments are written is going to give you the opportunity to really represent the knowledge that you've got. So it could be based on a case study, or it might be something in the real world, or it could use the remote labs. So you might need to go through and actually run a process or, generate something, some kind of tangible report that is reflective of your understanding. So yeah, really good question. But that's generally the structure. Going into some of the newer courses we're developing, they could look a bit different, but I can't see a point in time where we'd ever put the pressure of exams onto students doing 3-month courses. I wouldn't want to do that to them. So, great question. And then Ramesh asked,
and sorry, Nat,
Cam,
I just sort of add that it's not really like you fail the assessment as such, is it? It's you're given support until you get it correct. It's the instructor does work with you through the responses. I did see another question there about extra support. I think I saw somewhere. And I think it's important to notice that it's not a pass or fail type course. Yes, you fail it if you don't attend the sessions and then don't do your catch-ups. But in doing the assessment, you are given assistance to work through it to make sure that you've understood the content.
Yeah, that's right. We definitely want to make sure that students have the opportunity to succeed in these. I probably have to speak to our vet team that runs them to talk about the nuance, but generally speaking, like we want to make sure that you're succeeding. It's definitely something that we want to have the support academically and just administratively, making sure that you've got access to everything you need, that the software's working how it's meant to work and all that sort of stuff too. And I think I addressed the accreditation question earlier on as well. Great. So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or in the Q&A.
If someone wants to hear something about cybersecurity engineering course, so I'm not sure if you've got the course overview for that out yet, but we can probably provide the overview when it's available, or it's going to be on the web page, isn't it, Nat?
Yeah. Keep, like I said, stay up to date with our socials and our newsletter. And when that course, becomes available, the full details will be on the course outline on the website. So we want to make sure that students understand what they're signing up for. It's pretty critical. And that means we list out, like, what are your topics? What are you going to be learning in this course? We'll provide you a bit of context. Our brilliant course advisors, who are all very knowledgeable, are a really a good touch point if you want to find out a little bit more about one of our current offerings, rather than getting into the specific details here.
Okay, I do believe that concludes the presentation, guys. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think we're all good if there's no more questions.
No problem at all, guys. As I have mentioned during the beginning of this webinar, everyone will receive a copy of the slides as well as the recording. Just give us a bit of time. They will be sent after the virtual open week, and that will be perhaps after the 21st of October, 2024. Please keep a lookout on your junk, spam, and promotional folders. Sometimes they might land there. However, they will all be sent to you. In terms of registering for the remainder of our virtual open week, I am leaving a link in the chat box. You are more than welcome to register. We will have another session later on today, as well as the remainder of the week. Nat mentioned our course advisors. If you're keen on joining EIT and applying for one of our professional certificates or any other courses for that matter, you can just click on the booking link and then book a slot to speak to our course advisors. You'll be able to ask them all the questions that you have regarding our offerings at EIT, and they will be happy to assist. In terms of our workshops and conferences, you guys can click on the link as well. We have a lot that's going on. Please visit our events page. Everything that you need to know about what is going on and the time frames will be there on the website. Thank you so much for our presenters for the day. Thank you for the presentation. I do hope that it was received as intended. And of course, for our attendees, we really do appreciate your support and coming through for the presentation. As I've mentioned, there's another one happening in about an hour's time. Thank you so much for your time, guys. The recording and the slides will be sent to your emails. If that's all, I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you, guys, and goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Goodbye.